Hi, I'm Frank Messina, and this is the December 2nd, 2025 meeting of the Chatham Historical Commission. Before we start, I have a couple of announcements. Please note, this meeting is being recorded and will be available shortly hereafter for scheduled and on-demand viewing on any smartphone or tablet device. If anyone else is recording the meeting, please notify the chairman. Seeing none. Pursuant to Governor Healey's March 28, 2025 signing of Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025, extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Law 3820, until June 30th, 2027, this meeting of the Chatham Historical Commission is being conducted in person and via remote participation. Every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceeding as provided for in the order. A reminder that people who would like to listen to this meeting while in progress may do so by calling the phone number 508-945-4410, conference ID 808-259-013 #, or join the meeting online via Microsoft Teams in the link in the posted agenda. While this is a live broadcast and simulcast on Chatham TV, Xfinity 1072, despite our best efforts, we may not be able to provide real-time access. I think I'm reaching the point where I got this whole thing memorized. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the roll call. Bob Lear, Vice Chair.
Here.
Nancy Barr, Clerk.
Here.
Stephanie Hamilton.
Here.
Robert Stevens.
Here.
Janet Tennyson.
Here.
Robert Wilson.
Here.
Sandy Porter, alternate, is not here, nor is she calling in. Okay, and the chair is here, and we have a full number of members of the commission, so we could proceed. First item agenda, we have a couple of hearings, shouldn't take too long, and a number of discussions and on the community preservation applications, which we're obliged to review and provide some consultation to the Community Preservation Committee. And that's about it. All right, let's go right to the minutes of November 18th. Any questions?
I move that we accept the minutes of November 18th.
Any other questions, corrections?
Second.
Thank you. Bob?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Steph?
Yes.
Robert?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
Robert Wilson?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Thank you very much. We got rid of that. All right. The hearings, the first application is a continuation of 25043 on 65 that one, Lane, and a reference to Chapter 158 and also in reference to the Cape Cod Commission Act. The applicant has requested a continuation. Chris, are you here online? Okay. What's going on here is the applicant has formally requested through email a request to delay it till 12/16. I have no problem with that. Just to bring everybody up to speed, including members of the public, we have received some documentation and information from Cape Cod Commission, which we did share with the members of the commission, and we discussed briefly the last time the applicant was here. So needless to say, the applicant, I believe, is thinking about making some changes to be more compliant with the request from Cape Cod Commission. In addition, myself and the Vice Chair, Bob Lear, we met with Jay Briggs, who in fact is the building commissioner, zoning officer, and effectively the enforcer of FEMA requirements if there are variances or non-variances. Quite honestly, it was a mixed meeting in some way. We do have a lot of authority as it relates to not allowing changes to be made, and even though an applicant may say, well, FEMA is requiring me, well, we can say, I'm sorry, this is a national register. I'm not saying we're doing it, but just want you to know with the guidelines, we can make a determination that the changes will significantly affect the historical significance and listing on the National Register. So we have to come to some kind of agreement or understanding with the applicant. Hopefully, I've had some independent conversations with Chris, and he's telling me he's working on some things. So, this is not easy, and quite honestly, I appreciate the fact that they are cooperating somehow and attempting to see if we could find a way to make it a win-win for everybody here, including the neighbors, who obviously have a lot to say about this. Okay, Bob, could we get a motion?
Yeah, I guess a question first. Can we add a condition to the continuance that we get the materials by the Friday before the 16th? So we actually have a chance to look at it?
I think we can. In my view, I'm sorry.
So just let me, so when I do packets, I do request that any continued applications get me it for the packets. So it should be.
Well,
if-
okay, but I'm talking about, we get them by December, whatever the Friday is before that.
Review.
I would hope that Wednesday before. I would hope
Okay.
to get
What is
it.
that date?
Let's see. The Wednesday before would be the 10th.
Okay. Why don't we include it in the motion, if everybody's in
Sure, of
agreement?
course, yeah.
And we let them know, hey, guy, you got to give us time. And quite honestly, I would like Cape Cod Commission to look at it again. So that's the situation, all right?
Yep. All right, then I move that the application 25043, 65 Liffamet's Lane be continued until December 16th at the applicant's request, with the condition that materials be provided to the Community Development Office by December 10th.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Members of the public? Okay. Roll call. Bob?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Steph?
Yes.
Robert Stevens?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
Robert Wilson?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Okay, so, do me a favor, pick that up for me, will you? Thank you very much. All right, the next application is 172 Barcliff. This application will be heard in accordance with Chapter 158. This property, as noted in your summary, as the applicant comes forward, there is a Form B on the property and not listed in the National Register. It had before us in February 2024. We found it to be historically significant, so I don't assume that's going to change. But the changes did not materially diminish its historical significance. But for some reason, the application did not proceed. So we have before us technically a new application. Having said that, introduce yourself, sir.
Good afternoon, good morning, Bill Riley. The reason you have a new application is because you have a new owner, Mr. Feely, sitting in the back row. So, being aware of what had proceeded with the prior application, they have substantially reduced the scale of the proposed changes. As I pointed out to you, those of you with us yesterday, the rear section of the building is being removed, and a new addition that will extend outside of the east-west walls of the existing house. We'll have a second floor. The ridge of the second floor will match the ridge of the existing house. So it'll be a T shape. As you can look on the lower left corner here. So that's, the front of the house remains the same, the porch remains the same. The existing house with the dormers, and then the new ridge, which is actually about 40 feet. And we don't have depth perception with a drawing like this, a line drawing, but the ridge, the cross ridge is about 40 feet back from the front of the porch here. So the house itself is about 30 feet, 34 feet, something like that. And then, of course, the ridge is in the middle of the new addition, which is back another 10 feet. So it's about 40 feet away. So although in this drawing, you might say, well, it kind of overwhelms the existing historic building. In reality, it won't. Do we have a side view? All right, so all right, so this is the west side, the view from the west side. So you have the existing ridge, which is going to extend out to meet the new ridge. So there'll be a brief extension there. Obviously, the windows are changing as proposed because of a new alignment of the rooms inside the building. But we believe that the building is going to retain its historic significance, and the changes are in keeping design-wise with the existing building.
Okay, all right. The only question I have, if I recall, and I don't really look at the former application, this is a significantly smaller structure than you proposed. Was that the problem the first time?
Well, I wasn't involved, Jimmy, my partner, was involved with the last one. But what they wanted to do, if you recall the visit yesterday, where they had the garage separated from the building.
Got it.
Okay, they had an addition that incorporated that garage, so it was a much
Much larger.
larger proposal.
Got it. Thank you.
And so, no, this is much shorter.
All right. When do we start? Go ahead.
Reading all the papers, it said that they're trying to sell. It said, reading the papers, it said that the owners are trying to sell, it's up for market?
No,
They sold it already. New
well, they're
one.
buying it, they just bought it, they plan on using it.
So this is the Mies, this is a new owner?
This is a new one, Mr. Feely in the
Yeah.
back row.
Okay, thank you.
And he intends to use it for his family, as a second home. Everybody needs a Cape House, you know?
Oh, yeah?
Okay. Robin?
Yes, I did tour the property, thank you. It looks very interesting. And you mentioned a T shape. Is it more of an L than a T?
Robert, try to talk into the microphone.
Is it an L or a T for the
More of a T.
addition?
You have the roof,
Goes all the way through, yeah, both sides.
yeah, do you have a roof plan?
It's hard without the 3D, you know? There you
Yeah,
go.
see, so it's a
Okay,
T.
yeah, I see it, yep. Very good, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Annie. I'm looking at Christina and Dave.
Okay. Robert, do you have any comments?
No comment.
Thank you. Steph, you're okay?
I commented.
And Janet? Nancy?
I have one comment regarding the historical narrative, which is, I'm not sure this form makes this point as much as I would like to see it, which is that Arthur Edwards, who was the owner of this house in the mid-1900s, was Arthur Edwards of the shaving shop, which was.
Could you
this
speak into the
topic-
microphone more?
Sorry.
Speak into the microphone a little bit.
Arthur
I'm
Edwards.
old and hard of hearing. But my
Heard that
batteries,
somewhere before.
my batteries are up in my hearing aids, so it should be okay.
What did you say?
I apologize. Is that better?
Yeah, much
Okay.
better.
Arthur Edwards, who owned the property in the mid-1900s, I just want to make the point, was a very well-known local carpenter of whirligigs for the early tourism industry. He was the person who owned Arthur Edwards Shaving Shop, which is in many postcards on Old Harbor Road. So I would just make the point that, not against this application in any way, but that it is a significant residence narratively to our history, and I just didn't know that that came out as much in the form, so I wanted to make that point.
Well, it's interesting you should say that. I mean, people don't realize that part of town was farm country.
Yeah.
I mean, there were dairies and it was really an interesting time in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Thank you.
Yes.
Robert?
No questions. I was going to mention as the reason for calling it significant is, as Nancy mentioned, the social history of the town.
Right. Exactly.
I don't remember what we used as the reason the last time around.
Yeah. Well, it is an interesting note, because, we deal a lot with, why is it historically significant? Well, it's not a Queen Anne, and it's not, but, the cultural history of the town is something that we kind of, we're not the cultural police, but we like to at least acknowledge what happened in the history of it. But thank you. Okay, yes, Steph?
Was there any consideration given to putting the roof down a slight amount from the original house?
I didn't have any discussion with the architect. I think the point is that they wanted to have, full headroom more than anything else. And they thought it was more consistent to match the ridges rather than have a different ridge height. If there's a serious concern, I'm happy to talk about it with Mr. Feeling, the architect, but it seems to me that it's because it's so far removed, so as I say, it's 40 feet back from the T portion is 40 feet back from the front of the house. So,
Yeah, I also felt the same way at first, Steph, not ridge height, but given the most historic element, the front of it, and the fact that that is being preserved, I think it's, everything's a trade-off, but, yeah, certainly not sticky. Well, I think we've got consensus. Why don't we try a motion, all right?
I move the Chatham Historical Commission finds that the building and structure located at 172 Barcliff Avenue is historically significant because it is in whole or in part 75 years old or more. And the commission also finds that it is associated with one or more historical persons in the social and economic history of the town.
Second.
Okay, any other comments? Any members of the public wish to speak for or against that motion? Seeing none? All right. Bob?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Steph?
Yes.
Robert Stevens?
Yes.
Janet Tennyson?
Yes.
Robert Wilson?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes.
In the second motion, Chatham Historical Commission also finds that the proposed work to be done dated October 10th, 2025 will not materially diminish the historical significance of the building, and therefore the commission does not impose a demolition delay.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Any member of this public speak for or against the motion? Thank you. Roll call, Bob?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Steph?
Yes.
Robert Stevens?
Yes.
Janet Tennyson?
Yes.
Robert Wilson?
Yes.
The chair votes yes. Thank you very much.
thank you very much. Have a great day.
You're welcome. Have a good. All right.
Unknown participant is now exiting.
I'm sorry, would somebody say something?
It was online.
It's the computer.
Oh, the computer's talking, huh? Okay. All right, the next application is 25047. Again, to be heard in accordance with Chapter 158, demolition delay bylaw. And this is 203 Indian Hill Road.
Neighbors aren't
You want to come up, sir?
here.
This is a fascinating part of Chatham. I wonder why it was called Indian Hill Road. But again, there's no Form B on the property nor listed, and it was no on the town survey, but I think, why don't you introduce yourself, sir?
I just want to respond, I'm James Trainer, when you get to the afterwards, I will explain it.
Yeah, well, you can.
Just to Bill's presentation.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the board. Bill Litchfield here on behalf of the Raymond family, Jim and Jane, who those of you who were able to attend the, the site visit yesterday met at the time. As you're aware, and as the chair indicated, there is no Form B, nor simply put, does this house, the left-hand portion of, that's the proposed house, but the left-hand side is proposed to be demolished and rebuilt. The Raymond family has owned the property for many, many, many decades. Again, those of you who were in the neighborhood who were there yesterday heard that many of the neighbors are family members. But Jim and Jane would like to make some upgrades to the house, which is old, but is approximately 100 years old, but is not historic. I don't think it meets any of the three criteria for a finding of it being historically significant. Be happy to answer any questions or go into more detail, but on the other hand, I think it's a fairly straightforward proposal.
Well, thank you very much. I think, again, for those of us who did wander down the lane and find the property, it was quite significant to view that part of town. And also, but I think was general consensus among the members present, and I don't know now, relative to, although it's interesting, it is old, architecturally, it wasn't anything, I guess, which tweaked the mind of the preservation consultant, nor do I feel in itself is architecturally or otherwise historically significant. It's not to say that it's not historic, but not historically significant under our criteria. So why don't we dispense with that element very simply? Do any members wish to speak on that issue? Okay. Any members of the public? You want to come up if you want to talk about the historical significance?
I think Jim was going to try to respond to the question about which Indian was involved.
Oh, okay.
And if he'd like to come up, you have to take the mic, Jim, you're being broadcast. I think I would simply observe in response to that, and this actually is something that been a little bit of an issue for me. The legal ad, as you know, talks about the applicant's desire to demolish an historically significant building, which we don't know if it is until the board makes that determination. I'm old, but I'm not historic.
Oh, well, wait a second.
And I think that's part of the issue here. The structure's 100 years old, but in any event, I think you can find that it's not historically significant, and Jim can tell you about the Indian or Indians of Indian Hill.
I'm a former U.S. history teacher, so I'm particularly interested in this issue.
Could you just formally
I'm sorry, I'm James Raymond. My two brothers and I, as beneficiaries of my aunt's trust, inherited this when she passed away at age 100 about a year and a half ago.
Thank you.
We also own the property my parents had up in the corner that you came by. So when I was young, this was owned by my uncle Tom and his wife Janet Raymond, who was originally laid out the Indian Hill Road development. We used to stay in the apartment in the garage. When the family lore is, when Tom laid out the road, he asked his kids what to name it, and they liked the name Indian Hill. There's no evidence of any Indians ever here. And one of their sons, Richard, lives off of Crowell Road, so we can bring him in as a witness, but that's the family history. He doesn't remember that, but I do. So anyway, there's no historical significance to the name.
Well, you say that, no evidence, but, we did an archaeological survey of the entire town, looking into the archaeological history of the town. And when you look at what the archaeologists have found, you really can't put a spoon in the ground in most places in Chatham that there wasn't an Indian there over the last 10 or 15,000 years, at some part of Chatham.
Well, let me rephrase that. There has been no evidence found underlying that.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, so why don't we proceed with the motion?
Okay, I move the Chatham Historical Commission finds that the building located at 203 Indian Hill Road North is not historically significant because it does not meet any of the definitional criteria in section 158-2, A, B, or C of the bylaw. Therefore, the commission does not impose a demolition delay.
I'll second.
Great. Any other discussion? Members of the public? Seeing none? Bob?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Steph?
Yes.
Robert Stevens?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
Robert Wilson?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Thank you very much. Pleasure meeting you, sir. Okay. Last, 117 Old Wharf Road, 25048. again, Chapter 158 of the demolition delay bylaw. Hello, introduce yourself formally.
Good morning, everyone. Leslie Schneeberger, here representing Allison Adams and Peter Collery of 117 Old Wharf Road. Would you like me to go straight into the introduction?
Sorry?
Would you like me to go straight into the project summary?
Yeah, well, let me just quickly, there is a Form B on the property, and although it's not in the National Register, but it certainly does have a history. I guess this house dates back to the 1780s or something like that, so
It does.
we could discuss the issue. I don't think there's any issue with yourself or members of the commission relative to the historical significance of the property, so we'll probably dispense with that quickly, but why don't you go into what you're planning to do with this property?
Sure. So there is a Form B stating that it is the Hattie Baxter House of circa 1780. And we've did quite a bit of research into the house itself, as much as we could find in records, as well as investigating the house. And the portion in the center that you're looking at, the 5-bay cape with the raised roof, is the Hattie Baxter original house. We are looking to restore and enhance that house, and I say enhance by making it become the focal point of the property, whereas right now, it's somewhat dwarfed by the additions that are noted in the same Form B of different times. We tried to identify the date, and we really can't. We looked at a number of ways to reuse all portions of the house, and I can tell you a million reasons, financially and structurally and everything else, why that was not a good reason. But quite honestly, the main reason was it's hiding the beautiful house. And so it really led us to a design that brought the house out. So we're focusing our attention on restoring the materials on that existing center cape. We're replacing windows. As was mentioned, they are older windows, we believe 1940s. They're rope-hung, single pane, but not historic glass. We're looking to replace them with wood windows that are also a very thin historic mutton profile, wood white painted, but they will be double pane, which will allow us to take the aluminum storms that are kind of hiding the windows right now off. We're replacing the fiberglass gutters with, the aluminum gutters with fiberglass, and those of you that are familiar with the fiberglass, it mimics a wood gutter, so again, bringing it back to its more historic original character. The trim, siding, and roofing, natural cedars and painted wood are matching, what we're replacing is matching the existing. The main changes, or the large change to that portion of the house that I've been telling you about, is right in the center top, right here. As you can see by the existing, there are currently 5 windows across the upper portion of the house, and we are looking to change that to 7 windows. So grouping 2 adjacent to the existing. The main reason for that is to bring a lot more light and a lot more view into what we're focusing on for a primary bedroom. Other changes are to the left side as you look at the elevation from Old Wharf. The existing addition there is a 1980s addition. We're actually using that footprint, using a lot of that structure, but we're removing, as you can see, skylights that are in the connector piece, and so instead it will be a cedar shingle roof, and we're replacing the very modern glass sliding doors with fully paned French doors. Then on the farthest part, we're removing the roof and replacing it with a steeper pitched roof to be more in keeping, and removing the bow window and instead putting in 3 double-hung paned windows. Again, trying to really respect the existing house and improve it. The backside of this addition, the backside of the 80s addition is being extended slightly. And as we talked about on site, and as your material shows you, the barn is being converted to a screened porch. So the garage door will be removed, screens will be in there. The windows that are in the barn actually remain, and then the L is removed and some more screening is happening on that side. So what a lot of this does is allows us to move parking and circulation entry closer to the street, taking away house that's kind of taking up all that street space, and then making more garden in the back that's enclosed and can be enjoyed at the back of the house as well as from that screened porch. Happy to answer any other questions.
Well, I've got a big one.
Okay.
And in looking at it and looking at the chimney and everything else, and then reading the Form B, it was apparently a half cape.
Yeah.
Was it a 1.5-story structure originally?
Yes.
So it was more than just raising a roof. I mean, they added a full second story.
Yes, and actually inside, and we're keeping, I didn't waste your time with the interior, but we're really preserving the interior. And we're keeping, on the driveway facing side where there's the dormer, it's completely interrupted by rafters that still come down from the original roof rafters, which we're working into our plan because it's really interesting to see.
Yeah. Well, it was fascinating because it's a beautiful, very simple cape, but it's a big cape. It's not, these people had some resources back in the 1780s and also in the 1900s to do that kind of work back then.
They did, and I didn't mention, Allison Adams is online and really appreciates the simplicity of the house, and it's something that we've really looked to continue.
And I have to congratulate you and the owners, to maintaining that simplicity and keeping it, but anyway, all right, enough for me. Why don't we walk around the room, see where we are? We'll start this way. Bob?
I don't have any problem with it interfering with the historical value of the property. I think it's going to make it look a good deal, as you said, the center piece more prominent, and that's a good thing. And the rest of the new additions, if you will, are in keeping with the same design, so I have no difficulty with it.
Great. Nancy?
I also appreciate, the sensitive design, all your efforts. I would say that I would prefer the more historic fenestration that is there with the one center. It's far more typical of that style house to have, a 5 across than a 7 across. But I understand the view. I'm a view princess. I can appreciate that. I guess what I feel is that I'm sad to see that change, but I do not believe that it inherently changes the historical significance of the structure. And I think you're going a long way to preserving it and also setting it off. Re-exposing the rear side, all of that is a really positive thing. So I think the positives outweigh my one negative. So.
Thank you. Janet?
I think it's a great design, and I applaud you for, it's a lot of work to make all that, incorporate all those features, so it's good, thank you. And I agree with Bob and Nancy, their analysis.
I thank you. I think the house looks much better with what you're doing to it.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you. Wilson? Bob?
Okay. Yeah, I toured it yesterday. Thank you for the tour. And I agree with all the comments of the group, especially the initial one made by Bob Lear. I think highlighting the original center chimney house is fantastic to get that as a centerpiece, and removing the distractions. There are distractions that take away from it, and putting that entry out front and getting a garden in the back is great. And overall, I think there is the one distraction, the one possible issue of going from 5 to 7 windows, but all the other 10 positives outweigh the one negative, possible negative. So overall, I call it brilliant. It's good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Robert?
Leslie, you did a beautiful job on this. Give you all the positives first. Devil's in the detail. When I look at it, I just have to agree with my colleague Nancy here. Those 3 windows above the center door in the center house, it just changes the house for me. It's not a deal breaker, but I'd really think that maybe the owners could take a look at it when you have this many comments about something. Oh, it's a beautiful house. I'm a realtor. I'm about to sell it. Ooh, why did they put those windows in there? I don't know. Anyway, it seems like all these projects, there's a tendency to possibly go a little glass crazy, new sliders, higher sliders, wider sliders, bigger windows. So that kind of puts me off a little bit, but I think you did a great job. Thanks for getting rid of the bay window and the skylights, and you did a great job. But think about that,
Understood.
that 3 window. It detracts from the property for me, and I'll end it there.
Thank you.
I like your comment about wider sliders. It's interesting how we all have the same comment about that window.
It is.
I mean, that was the
we will
first
review.
thing I looked at and said, and I even asked a silly question, why? And I got the answer, which is, well, look out the other window. And, it's not exactly like you have a wider slider there, that you're going to have a patio or something, you're going to look out a window. Okay. Anyway, is there any chance that you and/or your owner might consider that comment?
We'll certainly look at it again. You did point out we've removed skylights. We actually removed glass in a lot of places, and partially that's because we're moving primary bedroom that's on the first floor up to the second floor. And this is going to be used year-round, and light is important. So I think we can look at different ways to configure it, but it is important to get some extra openings in there. It's no longer going to be a stairwell. It's actually a bedroom in this instance.
You could put a skylight.
I would object to that.
All right, I think we're I'm sorry, Robert, did you want to say something else? No? Okay. All right, I think, why don't we have a motion and begin with the historical significance?
Okay, I move the Chatham Historical Commission finds that the structure is located at 117 Old Wharf Road is historically significant because it is in whole or in part 75 years old or more, and the commission finds that it is associated with one or more historical persons in the social and cultural history of the town, including the guy who wrote 3 Men on a Horse. I thought that was pretty good. It also possesses architectural value or significance in terms of period and style.
Thank you.
Second?
All right, second. Anybody wish to speak for or against the application? Seeing none, I'll do a roll call. Bob?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Steph?
Yes.
Robert Stevens?
Yes.
Janet Tennyson?
Yes.
Robert Wilson?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. All right. Part 2.
Historical Commission also finds that the proposed work to be done dated, where's my first page? November 3rd, 2025, will not materially diminish the historic significance of the structures, and therefore the commission does not impose a demolition delay.
Second?
Okay. Anyone wish to speak for or against the motion? Seeing none. Bob?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Steph?
Yes.
Robert Stevens?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
Robert Wilson?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
And
much.
appreciate if you would at least consider that.
We will.
Thank you. Okay, guys, we're doing well here. All right, the next element in our agenda is new business, the really only new business, which is the Community Preservation Committee applications. We have a number of them. And let's see, the way we have it on the agenda is, the first application is from Terry Whalen in the town of Chatham in reference to the preservation and restoration of the Marconi Lattice Towers, which are contributing structures in the National Register District. And hi, Terry, why don't you introduce yourself formally?
Yeah, thank you very much. Terry Whalen, Projects and Operations Administrator for the town of Chatham. And again, I know you guys have a very busy agenda here today, so I'll give a brief overview if that's okay with the chair. I've got a few slides just for some context. I know you have a copy of the application, had a copy of the in your package and/or on mytowngovernment.org, and if that's okay, I just, if I can quickly share my screen here, I will do that, and then can take any questions if that's okay to proceed.
All right. I'm sorry, I missed that last thing, Terry. You're going to say anything? You want to let this speak for itself?
No. I'm gonna do a quick. I've got a few slides to run through real quickly here. So I just want to make
Okay.
sure you're okay with me sharing the screen. I'm sorry. I was asking for permission, I guess, to share my screen.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
He's asking to share the
Slides.
screen, yes, it's fine.
All right.
Yes.
Annie's poking away there. There she goes. All right.
Okay, so just again, real quickly, I know some commissioners have probably seen various early iterations of this project that's been moving along for some time here. And just for the overall context, the objective here, at least on at the Marconi site in the National Register District here regarding the preservation of the lattice towers, as the chair, I believe, mentioned that these are contributing structures in the National Register District. Some of the chronology, originally we were looking to complete all three towers as part of one project. However, like many of the projects we're running into nowadays, our prices are coming in quite high. So we've reformatted a little bit, but I'm just going to run through quickly here the chronology for folks who may not be familiar with it and/or the public. So if you recollect, some time ago in September 22, we completed an existing condition survey. We then sought funding for $284,000 to implement the project, to make repairs and restoration actions in a manner consistent with Secretary of Interior standards. Once we had that funding, we were working on the detailed review and basically the design development period where we were doing additional research, any information we could find about the towers, structural reviews, other items, and then we developed bids and plan specs. And then also as part of that, you might recall, I believe back in August of 2024, we were also looking at simultaneously running the project where we would actually move the tower adjacent to Riders Cove to a less susceptible condition along the bank. So with that, we were again moving towards the bidding. We did bid the project, and in March of 2025, we did receive bids, and they were more than twice the funding allocation. So subsequent to that, we couldn't award the bid as the funding wasn't there. We did research with our engineer and preservation consultants, which are Socotech. And for folks who might remember our earlier involvement, quite frankly, a lot of the design work at Marconi had been done by CBI Consulting Group. They have been taken over by Socotech. So we're continuing that relationship as they have a lot of continuity on various projects on the site. We did go out for a second round of bidding, basically for one tower to see if we could get that to fit into the budget. We did have one tower come back, one proposal at 189, and we're looking to move forward with that to complete at least one tower. And hopefully through with the design, the engineers and our preservation consultants, because this is somewhat of a unique project, that we would learn as well through this project for putting a second bid out, or it should be a third bid out for the remaining two towers, which we would target for the fall of 2026, obviously pending approval of the CPC request at annual town meeting 2026. And we've really put the longer term project to move the tower back until after the structural repairs and preservation to set it on a new foundation. So again, just again, for some context, the original proposal, we were looking to do all three. Now, for corresponding with the proposal that you have in front of you, would be for the remaining 2 towers, basically in the Riders Cove area. And again, just for, sense of, I know it's tough to see this, but again, just going back to all the various structural and just repairs that are needed on both the remaining towers, very similar to what's on the tower that's on the Marconi campus, right by the operations building. So our budget for this, based on, we worked backwards from some numbers we had, when putting some contingency in there as well. We were finding in our first go around of the bids, we were, they were on the order of, a couple $100,000 each tower. We've added some contingency in, and we've come up with a total project cost of $530,400. However, our request from the CPC right now, and we're continuing to look for other articles or other things that we can reduce that, but basically for the balance that was not spent or would not be spent out of the 284 would be applied to the request for the remaining 2 towers for $455,400. So hopefully that gave a little more context over the what was included in the original package. And again, we're here to entertain any questions or comments you may have on where we are and where we're going with this project.
Terry, thank you very much. Needless to say, this is a subject near to my heart. You got a typo on your project chronology, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah, you say existing condition study. (2022).
Right, so if you recollect, we had the.
When was the
earlier
original
assessment.
condition study done? Was it 2000 or 2002?
There was one done in 2003 that was
Yeah,
completed.
2003.
But we refreshed that with some additional funding, and that study, which really served as the basis for moving forward where we are now with the structural repairs on the lattice tower. So that was actually completed in 2022.
That's right.
So yeah, I did not have in the chronology here the original full arc of the project going back to the 2003 assessment.
Well, my only wiseacre comment is that we've been sitting on this thing too long. And the miracle is that they're still standing. When the town was involved in purchasing the property, and we knew the towers needed work to be done, and nothing has happened. So I'm glad that we're finally, hopefully, taking some action, and unfortunately, the price is going up. But that's kind of unfortunate, but we have to move forward. One key thing, most important thing, Donnie St. Pierre's Osprey trays going back?
Yeah, so we've had, there's, in consultation with the engineers, they don't have a concern with, long-term impacts from that. But, it's not necessarily part of this project, but that would be something that can be accommodated. So on any of the towers, that's, the I don't say approved end state, but that's how we're working around this. There's no concern with that from the structural perspective. I can't speak from the environmental perspective, but that's not an issue from the structural or preservation perspective.
All right, good. All right, Bob, any comments?
Well, I think it does need to be done. I'm sort of amazed at the cost, but that's not Mr. Whalen's fault, that's for sure, so.
Okay, Nancy?
I have a question, just a clarification, I guess, because
Sure.
I wasn't here when the original. So the FY '24 CPC funding for 284, originally, it looked like that was going to handle all three of them. So it's kind of gone from 284 to 700 almost for the three towers over the last couple of
Ye-
years.
Yeah, so that's, again, with the estimates, so out of the 2024 application, we were, off of estimates that, we were hoping were going to be adequate. However, as you might have been monitoring other projects, you really don't know, at least in the municipal world, what the price is until you actually get prices back. So we were pretty surprised with, again, with that range for $600,000 to $700,000 to do, all three of them. And, some of it might have had to do with, the timing of the bidding. There was a lot of talk about steel tariffs and things like that at that point. But, our second round of bidding shows that, it's still, in that ballpark of, we have the bid, to execute to do one for, under 200,000. And we're hoping through continual observation and lessons learned through that project, how to streamline the bids, hopefully for the remaining two projects. So, there's a lot of complexity in here, mainly with the aerial work and safety. There was some concerns originally too with the timing regarding Osprey compliance and things along those lines. So those are things that, again, I think just bumped up the responses that we did receive well outside the estimates for the project, unfortunately.
Okay, great, thank you. You're currently using the 189 budget, that's underway. What's the timeline for that, and then also for doing the other two if the funding is secured?
Yeah, so we would hopefully have the first tower done by the spring, early spring, and then, pending the approval of town meeting, we would also be looking at a similar time frame because of working around the Osprey and some of the other activities, because the second phase really is at the Riders Cove Landing, so that we don't conflict with any activities at the landing during the summer. The desired construction window for these projects is between now to early spring. So we'd be looking for that same kind of target in 2026. And we're hoping that, there wouldn't be a lot of extra design work, just some tweaks to the specifications from the, what might be observed by the consultants through the process on the existing tower to, again, hopefully refine the documents. But there's not a lot of new work to do to the document. So that package could go out very, very quickly for, again, late fall, early winter implementation next year.
Okay, sorry, one more follow-up. So can you do two at once, or would you be then working on one next year? I guess I'm just trying to figure out how the funding, what your needs are.
Yeah.
What happens if you don't get it? I know that being the representative on CPC, we have more
Yeah.
proposals than we have funds for this year, so I'm trying
Yeah.
to get a sense of your
Yeah, I mean,
timing for
again,
your
as
needs.
Yeah, fully understand, through your deliberations, if that's something that, needs to be phased further, then we could, we could do that in the interim. I'm also going to look for other types of grant opportunities that maybe can help, as we go through the process as well.
But it is
So that
feasible
would be-
to do two over one winter. That would be the idea.
Yeah, again,
Okay.
originally we were hoping to do three at once.
Okay.
And that, again, was more constrained by the budget. So,
Okay, thank you.
so that's where we are.
Nancy, I'm glad you brought that up, and I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but this is a contributing structure in a national registered district. And for years, I've been trying to get the town to reach for these grants, which are available every year. They're not easy, and they're matching grants. So, I mean, I don't want to sway the vote at the CPC, but I would hope that they would encourage the applicant, the town of Chatham. I was going to say something I was going to regret, but I won't. You know, the money's there. And I read all the other towns on the Cape, in Massachusetts, who receive, you know, bricks and mortar kind of grant when you're restoring a national register. Anyway, you know, I'm tired of asking, but it's something, you know, the town should be really seriously doing. I mean, there's a lot of historic preservation projects which really don't meet the criteria, but this is a slam dunk, you know. Anyway, okay, I'm sorry. Shut up, Frank. All right, Robert.
Just a quick clarification question. I assume the structures themselves are historic?
Yeah.
But what is the nature of the work in 25 words or less? I know you could talk for about an hour about the nature of the work, but is it the foundation, or is it some wiring supports, or what is the work consist of?
Everything.
25 words or less.
Sure, it's primarily the superstructure, the elevation, but there are some elements that involve the foundations as well. So, but that work is minimal in these instances, but they're on both the tower near the operations building and the ones in the Riders Cove do require some work at the base as well. So there's some spalling and erosion and things along those lines.
You
That would be.
you need cranes and so on, and there's a lot of cost to that and so forth.
Well, the crane would be, only really involved if we're going to move them. But there's aerial work if you're calling that a crane. So, there's work being done,
I'm exceeding my own 25
elevated
words.
work.
All right.
Thank you.
We'll go. Janet, you had wanted to say something. Go.
No, I think it's, this is dragged on too long, and I think it's really important to save these structures. They're obviously historical, pertinent to the history of Chatham. I mean, anyone that looks into it knows the story. And I think a lot of work should have been done earlier, and it hasn't been. So I hope it moves this time, and hopefully all three can be done at the same time.
Not at the same time, one's still in the spring.
Well, one after as quickly as possible, because otherwise the costs just rise,
Okay. Steph, you want to add anything?
No, my questions were asked by Nancy.
Thank you. Robert?
No comments at this point. Although I am curious, does the tower actually come down, repaired, and then go back up? Or do you have the facility to do it all in the air?
Yeah, so this work is all going to be aerial work. We did explore, there were some challenges when we looked at, when the first time the bids came in high, we were like, well, do we remove them, crib them? But the chance of damage and extra work with, 2 crane movements per tower, the cost savings just weren't there. So the work is, there's a very narrow, not audience, but a limited number of vendors that even, do this kind of heavy aerial work. So the work, we can't dictate the methods and means, but they will be working in an aerial fashion and not taking the towers down. So making all repairs in place, in kind, and according to, detailed specifications book to ensure the compliance with the Secretary's standards.
All right. I think we've got the consensus here, and at this particular time, what I think we need is a motion reaffirming the historical significance of the 3 towers as contributing structures, and I assume motion would be to approve the recommendation to the CPC for approval. Yes, Nancy?
Is it possible or is it, I don't know how people feel about it, but should we include a qualified recommendation that we recommend the project to be completed, but we'd like to see matching funds?
We traditionally don't, in the sense that we're asked by CPC to opine, approve the historical significance of the project. We generally stay away from the monetary elements of it. It's not our job. And how they do it as it relates to deterioration or removing historical significance. So that's kind of where we focus. I don't know, and I quite honestly don't want to step on CPC's toes, to do that. I think that's the appropriate role as the Historical Commission. And, that's their job. They get paid more money than we do, so they can make those decisions. Yeah. All right. Nancy, is that okay? Yes. All right, great. Thank you, Bob. Go.
This is sort of not the standard motion, but it will play off the historical significant determination. I move that the Chatham Historical Commission find that the structures that comprise the Marconi lattice towers are historically significant because they are whole and part 75 years old or more. They're listed on the National Register of Historic Places, and they're associated with many historical events and economic events of the town, and they possess architectural value in terms of their historical prominence. And I'm not sure about their period style or method of construction.
I'll second that.
And we approve the application.
And we therefore approve the application that's being filed with CPC.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you very much. Okay, no other comments? Bob?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Steph?
Yes.
Robert Stevens?
Yes.
Janet Tennyson?
Yes.
Robert Wilson?
Yes.
Terry, thank you very much. I appreciate your letting us beat you up.
No problem. And thank you for squeezing me into your very busy agenda. Thank you very much. Bye.
And again, on this issue of the grants, we're happy to help in any way we can, but we can't do it.
Yep.
We shouldn't, So thank you. And it could be done in parallel, you can continue with the CPC,
Yep.
and you can use the CPC as matching funds to these other mass historic grants. Anyway, it's another story.
That's the plan. That's what I'm working on, and now with my assistant, we'll be digging into that. And again, we have all the documentation in hand now too. It makes it much easier too. So for the request. So yeah, noted, and we will get back to you if we are some advice on the filing, and we can copy you on that filing as well.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Happy to assist in any way we can. Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you.
We have the Harbor Masters Building, Mr. Berman? There we go. Oh, you brought help.
I did. So, thank you for having us. My name is Greg Berman, your Director of Natural Resources. This is Jason Holm, your Harbor Master. And Andy, are you able to show our slides? That's fairly late on the slides. Is there a PowerPoint?
Yeah, just give me 1 minute.
Or a PDF?
Sorry, that was my mistake. Hold on 1 moment.
No worries. You may recognize the Harbor Master Building. Well, I guess basically while this particular image is up, we've broken this request to CPC into two different parts. One is for the deck area and stairs, and the other, if they so choose, is to fund the complete exterior renovation. One of the things, we haven't gone to CPC very often as a department for these sort of things, so we didn't necessarily know if we come to Historic Commission and then CPC or vice versa, so.
That's fine. We tend to do things in parallel.
Yeah, well, excellent, because, we are certainly, hopefully going to take advantage of your offer of assistance on the previous item that, the Harbor Master and I have very limited experience with historical restoration and how things should look. So we would like to engage this committee if this is funded and moves forward to kind of make it look the right way. Yeah, that looks like it.
Greg, let me just clarify something up front, because I was confused. You're asking CPC, that's a range, 50 or 350.
It certainly is, and our harbor master got the estimates. I'll let him speak to.
So is the 50 for one element of it, or
The 50 would be to replace the porch and staircase, and if so, available funding would be to continue the rest of the exterior of the building.
so you're asking for 50K for the stairs?
For the stairs and the porch.
And the deck
And then, so that's a part one, and then if there's a part two?
for the shingles.
Yeah, so, I mean, knowing how CPC doesn't always have funding for everything that's requested of it.
Oh,
you know,
you're giving them an option.
We did an option, right? So, I mean, what the town really needs to go forward with is the stair and deck, and there's probably cost savings involved if we do the full exterior. But instead of just doing a repair in kind for the stairs and deck, we wanted to, you know, bring it up to its historical significance. So this was an opportunity to bring it into compliance and, you know, bring it up to the level of the pictures that we saw in some of the Form B work.
Let me give you a suggestion. Don't use the word repair.
Well, yeah, that, we're trying to avoid the repair.
This is-
We prefer to do.
This is restoration. You know, historical, community preservation funds for historical preservation, technically, or any CPC, are not supposed to be used for maintenance,
Yeah.
okay? Restoration's a bit different story, okay? And that's my view, and I've been on both sides of the fence here, okay? Okay,
that's-
well, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting, I apologize. Why don't you just
No problem.
continue if you have more to add?
That is exactly where we're going. I mean, can we advance to the next slide? Or is it this machine? Okay. So here we are just from another angle. It shows the exterior. Next slide. We'll go kind of quick because we killed some time. If we do, you know, get full funding for the exterior, you know, we would look to the windows also. These certainly aren't the original windows from 1900. We'd also like them to be a little bit more weather resilient because they are right on the water. Next slide. And you can see here, just one click, that this has been repaired in the past. And that's kind of the par for the course. That's what we're trying to avoid this time, is just a repair kind of the same way it was. What we're trying to move towards is the actual restoration of the porch and stair system. So it would be a removal of that stair system, which we honestly, Jason and I don't know when it was constructed, maybe 80s.
Best guess.
So, I mean, that it would be removal and then bringing in a new, more appropriate stair structure and a full restoration versus just kind of the repairing it back to the level it was. So this is the idea of a restoration for this area, and we did talk about how we got the estimates from a retired but licensed contractor that does this kind of work. That's where we got those two numbers from, at least we're in the right ballpark. As you know, just talking to Terry Whalen, even decent engineering estimates can accelerate quite a bit over a couple of years. So we hope that this will cover the project. That's what we asked for with the estimates, but there's no guarantee until you go out for bid.
If I may add something, there's been a trend in a lot of our local neighboring municipalities kind of tearing down and rebuilding new municipal waterfront structures. You know, town of Sandwich, Orleans, we really don't want to do that here. We feel that this building's, you know, historic as part of the character of Stage Harbor. So that's one of the reasons that Greg and I started looking at just different ways to restore what's there, because we're losing more and more of those types of structures all through town, and especially along the Stage Harbor complex. So just to give you a little bit of an idea, you know, this was a way and an avenue of us to start to explore trying to preserve this piece of history along the waterfront instead of going the route of a lot of the other communities, which would be a tear down and rebuild with a new structure.
Yeah, you know, one second. Excuse me. This is, I don't know if you know, was also the original home of the Stage Harbor and the Monomoy Yacht Club. And the Monomoy Yacht Club, when we had it, we gave it up. Well, we didn't need it. And the town took it over. So it's interesting, the history of this, not only from, as the old mill boatyard, and there's that element of the town. It's a very historic building, that whole structure there. But just a couple of quick comments. First of all, you've got to be careful. Good old FEMA, you know, technically, just like you had to do with the building next door, you're going to need a variance, you know, from the FEMA requirements, a variance not to have to raise the building. So if you spend a certain amount of money, you know, that's going to kick that. Of course, the town has obligations, but that still is an issue. You know, you're in a flood zone or in a velocity zone there, so we got to be careful how you proceed with, and that's my view, of the maintenance and repair. Having said that, I think it's a worthwhile task to restore this building, but you know, you kind of need some details. So for instance, are you going to do something with the roof structure? Are you going to flatten it out or straighten it? We just talking about exterior siding. What are you actually planning to do?
Well, the full scope would just be to, other than the stairs and the porch, would be to replace the window siding and roof.
So no structural work, other than the front deck, I mean, the porch and the deck?
As of this time.
Okay. All right, why don't we, there was a hand, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Nancy.
What do you mean when you say we are restoring the stairs and the porch? What are you restoring it to? What is the historic, what is a historic stairway on that building, and what is a historic porch on that building that you're, I guess I'm just trying to figure out where, are you just rebuilding what's there?
So that's, you know, what we wanted to be involved with your committee about. One, we would get the design and bring it into you and hopefully get some guidance about what actually the historic look would be.
Right, so do you have photos from
We
when,
have
before?
What's in the Form B.
Okay. I just think I'm finding it a little bit challenging to consider a project where I don't have, you know, have what the project is. I think, I want to say that I think it's wonderful. I agree with you about protecting these working waterfront structures. I think it's significant. I think it needs to be protected. The specifics about like what is a historic window that replaces what's there that also meets your other criteria, like I feel like some of that probably needs to be worked through. It feels a little bit preliminary to me.
I think you hit the nail on the head, Greg. Sorry to want to throw cold water on this. Trust me, I do not want to. But, you know, Nancy has a vote. We don't vote. She's our representative. So you got one vote on the CPC who's already asking questions. My suggestion to you, you know, if you were coming before us 6 months ago or 3 months ago, we would have said, Greg, you got a lot of work to do. You really need to investigate what it is you're doing in terms of, and unfortunately or fortunately, Nancy's the right person, to find the millions or thousands of photographs which probably exist of what was there in the 1819. In other words, we probably do have some evidence of historically what that deck looked like and what the staircase looked like. So when you're coming back, and I say that back because I think your chances of going forward are not too good, okay, that this is what it was in 1910, okay? And this is what we want to, quotes, restore it to. Granted, we also want to meet the OSHA and, you know, all the, you know, safety, health and safety, but you're asking for historic preservation money, okay? In my opinion, it's mostly maintenance, okay? And the town tomorrow can go ahead and give you $50,000 and let you repair the deck, okay? Asking Jill for $350,000, another story, okay? I realize that, and I have no problem with, the concept, using community preservation funds for something like that. But I think we need a little homework to be done. I don't know, am I overstating myself, members, here? Am I, just pipe in here. Yes, Steph?
I just wanted to suggest, take the words repair and maintenance out of your vocabulary, because you used it again after Frank spoke. And they can't be in your vocabulary, or you're going to be turned down right away.
Yeah, go.
So I just wanted to stress, you know, the reason I'm mentioning repair is because repairs are going to happen.
Yes.
You know, what we're trying to do right now is, instead of just doing a repair, doing a restoration of the porch and deck system. We also included the exterior wrap because, you know, there's cost savings to doing this in one fell swoop. But, you know, we're not going to be coming back next year to the CPC for restoration because it'll be repaired by then.
Oh, I see. So you feel that the deck and the stairs, it's an immediate repair, immediate effort?
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, that kind of, you know, creates a problem.
Yeah, but at some point, you need to have a plan to do it. So even if you're trying to do it immediately, like you need to know what your plan, like funds for restoration are funding a project, and you have a desire to do the project, and I'm so supportive of that. But it doesn't feel like we have an actual project to fund.
Yes, Janet?
So listening to Greg, I think what you were looking for was guidance from the Historical Commission on what it should look like for historic restoration. Is that correct? In other words, did I misunderstand that?
No, that's correct. What we did for, you know, our due diligence, which may not have been enough at this point for the committee, it was relatively rushed, I'll definitely admit
Yeah.
that. You know, we went to a licensed contractor who's retired, who does this kind of work, gave us a ballpark of $50K. We put that in our application. It was our plan to proceed along this and, you know, before any restoration work got done, work with the committee and other, you know, folks who have the historical information to help us through the design process. So, you know, we were trying to kind of get our foot in the door to the CPC application to allow this restoration to go forward. But, you know, if it's not ready, then we'll proceed with kind of what we have been doing.
Well, we could help. I mean, I think the Historical Commission can help. We could check some of files. I can lean upon Nancy to check some of the documentation that we have in the Eldridge Public Library or at the Historical Society. I'm sure there are photographs out there or information about, and I think it's going to make your argument when you go before CPC. I don't know if you're going to be able to make it this one, but certainly next time, I think you're going to have a more convincing argument to convince not only CPC, not only us, but the CPC. And I think, as noted before, this is a tough year. There's a lot of requests, and they're going to have to dice and slice. And I mean, something like Terry's been doing this for 20 years, you know, with these towers. And we've finally reached a point where, you know, so anyway, that's a suggestion. Yeah, I'm sorry, Robert, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, just a question. Is it possible, I'm not sure about the stairs because they have to be done right away, but is it possible to get the historical data, whatever we can get with Nancy's resources on the old photographs of what things might have looked like that you're going to restore to, and then go to an architect, and it's going to add like some figure for some plans to be drawn up of what you want to do. And then you can get that bid for those drawings and then come back again. You have a package to come back and propose.
All right.
See, I guess that, you know,
Sorry, go ahead.
being somewhat new to the CPC historical realm, you know, that was our understanding, or our thoughts at the time, was we submit this application for 50 or 350, use those funds to get the architect, design, get.
Well, that's different. Then you should say that.
So I think that's the thing, is that it feels like the 50 could probably be used up by the process of putting a plan in place, but that will not achieve the actual restoration. And I'm a little like, but you're also saying it's kind of an emergency and that the repairs need to be made and that you don't really have time to put a plan in place. You need to do the repairs now. But either way, I just feel like is there actually time to go through the process of figuring out what restoration is and doing the plan? Forget about the funding for a minute. Or does repairs need to be made in the next 3 months, and then once they're made, you're not going to restore anymore? I guess I'm trying to nail that down a little more.
If it's CPC, you're not getting the money until
Yeah.
next year.
So what happens, I guess, that's the
August
question.
at best. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, Nancy.
No, I mean, I guess that's what is it feasible? In one sense, you're kind of saying it's not feasible to wait, but then you're going to have to wait no matter what happens, so.
Are you comfortable, Greg, if we do not make a decision for you? Because I think if we make a decision now, it's going to be negative. and you don't want that. We, as the commission, that's my feeling, to support it. We can support the concept. We could do that. We could have a motion to support the concept, but not necessarily the application.
I mean, I can't say that I'm not supportive. I'm a little confused about what you're asking us to support and to pay for. And I think that should be explicit.
So I guess, clarification, if we were to come back to the committee, I mean, is it more appropriate to come with full architect designs, or what is the
You don't
minimum
need-
by which
You don't need
you
the
make a
full.
decision?
No, I don't want you going out spending $50,000 for an architect. You don't need, but there are ways you can draw up the concept and, without doing the whole, every inch measured. That's not necessary, just the concept. But what you're presenting here, unfortunately, we got nothing to chew on. But yes, you could find somebody who could present something that would be consistent with a restoration, and this is the plan. These are the windows, this is the what we're gonna do, but I think what you need, as Nancy was referring to, you need something to go back to what it was 50 years ago or 100 years ago, and this is what we're trying to do, or we're not doing that, that's fine. But right now, there's not much we can have.
I think there is, people come to us, come to CPC, come to the Historical Commission for projects where they're like, we need to figure out what we need to do here.
And we're
Whether
happy to
that's
do
for
that.
open space, whether that's for affordable housing. We are asking you for funds to put a plan in place. Our goal is to restore this building, but we need money to get to a plan. And so there is funding, it's understood that it
They can do
takes-
that.
Yeah.
They
And
can
so
do
I
that.
feel like you're almost at that stage more than, but if you're saying, well, we don't have time to put a plan in place, it's gonna be done, and then we'll have missed it, then it kind of feels like it's a no
All right,
win.
Greg?
Would this be something that we could talk offline about?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Would this be something that we could talk offline about as far as like exactly like what the front looks like or did look like later on? I mean, he said you have resources for pictures and stuff, because I've got a few as well. But I think that might be helpful.
All right.
And kind of moving forward, because, 50 years ago or 80 years ago, this front looked different. And I don't know if it's feasible in today's use of the structure to go back to what it used to be necessarily.
No.
But I think we're hoping to bring out the traditional character of the building while also accommodating the modern use of the facility. So I'd love to pick your brain on how that.
I know in the Monomoy Yacht
Absolutely.
Club, there's a painting of the building from 1930. It looks very much like that. So you do have documentation that this is what it was,
Sure.
okay? So, and we could do that. If Nancy's willing,
Yeah, I mean, I'm absolutely, it's just this process is a time-bound one, so we're trying to figure out how we can help you in this, but absolutely.
I understand. Thank you.
And you may have more resources than I have access to. I just, happy to help and be a resource for a liaison.
Yeah, we appreciate it. I mean, this has certainly been a learning experience, I think, for both of us, that, reading some of the documentation, I certainly thought this was more asking the committee if this building was historically significant, and then if it, should qualify for restoration. So it sounds like we have a lot more legwork to do.
the answer to that question, yes, this building is historically significant, and I think the commission we can do that right now and just reaffirm that this is an historically significant structure, but we can't, in my mind, say we approve the application as submitted. So why don't we just do a motion relative to the fact that we agree this building is this structure is historically significant for a myriad of reasons, and that we approve its restoration. Boy, is that weasel wording, right?
And I mean, we certainly
Yes.
would plan on coming back either to a subgroup or the
Bob, you got a problem with
committee
that?
to explore.
Why don't we do that? Okay, guys? Go.
Well, let me ask that I can certainly do the part about historical significance, but our conclusion last time is that the matter then be referred directly to CPC, which we're not recommending,
Well,
if I am correct.
excuse me while we confer.
Unknown
We can
participant is
basically
now
say, we
joining.
agree the structure at 613 Old Harbor Road, the Old Mill Boatyard structure is in fact historically significant, blah, 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 for the reasons.
Right.
And the commission, affirms that it is worthy of future restoration.
Okay.
Okay?
I think that would
All right?
get us.
Yep, I'm ready.
Go.
I move that the Chatham Historical Commission finds that the buildings located at, Frank just gave the address,
Yeah, 613.
613 Stage Harbor Road, are historically significant, or is historically significant, because in whole or in part 75 years old or more, and it is associated with historic persons and events of the cultural and economic history of the town, and it possesses architectural value or significance in terms of a period and style of construction. And therefore, the committee recommends that it be followed up for determination of what is needed for a proper restoration.
Okay. Sound good? All right.
Second.
Second. All right. Sorry. That's okay. No other comments? Bob?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Steph?
Yes.
Robert?
Yes.
Janet? Robert Wilson?
Yes?
Chair votes yes. Wish we could have been more help, but I think we understand where you're going with it, and we'd like to help.
No, we certainly appreciate you working with us, and we definitely be back in touch.
Very good.
Appreciate your time. and
Thank you.
input.
Thank you.
Okay, short meeting is turning long. All right, guys. Mr. Whitcomb, patiently been sitting there. Hope you got some work done on your phone.
You were going so quickly through the first couple of meetings, I thought, well, I better get down there. And not so true. It's either good morning or good afternoon. We're right about at 12 o'clock. David Whitcomb, Chairman of the Chatham Cemetery Commission, 41 Indian Trail, not Indian Hill Road in West Chatham from your prior meeting. We're looking for a letter of support for, I guess, the Mac Memorial's the first on your list? I mean, I have two.
We don't have it electronically?
I submitted
That's okay.
the application and,
Yeah, it just unfortunately didn't make it in the computer. I think it did.
well, that's, yeah, is it in the application? Like,
Control room, can you capture that?
well, I guess you folks have it.
There you go. All right, well, that's what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, the Mac Memorial at the Coast Guard Lighthouse.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay,
So you have our application. I could read the project description if you want to do that, or be happy to answer any questions about this, our need of support. We did go to the CPC yesterday. Nancy was there, and she could probably help if.
okay. Well, fortunately, this one went through the weather process where they came to us before, and we discussed this as a commission, and I guess we affirmed at the time this was a worthy project and would support it. And now we're at the point where, okay, now we have the project details, and it's a matter of supporting it. Does anybody have any detailed question with the application, or are we all generally okay with it as it's submitted?
Okay.
I'm okay.
I think we're good. So why don't we just quickly do a motion reaffirming the historical significance of the Mac Memorial and a support of the application dated, whatever it is dated, and dated 10/29 to this Community Preservation Committee.
Okay. I move the Chatham Historical Commission finds that the monument located next to the Coast Guard Station is historically significant because it's in whole or part 75 years old or more, and it qualifies under the historical persons and events and architectural value of the community, and therefore supports its submittal to the Community Preservation Committee.
Very good.
Second.
All right. We're going to do a no comments, roll call. Bob?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Steph?
Yes.
Robert Stevens?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
Robert Wilson?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. That's why we usually like to ask people to come first, so we can move things along. And, we're not here to add more aggravation to the process, but, all right, we've got a part two here. David?
Part two is the restoration in People's Cemetery. You've been supportive of, we started off with Seaside Cemetery a couple of years ago. We're just completing Union Cemetery now, and this is to repair the deteriorating stones and clean them all in the oldest section of People's Cemetery. And I think the stones are listed with the ones that are going to be repaired in the application that we submitted. And again, we're looking for your support for the CPC for this.
Okay. Well, let me just quickly, the commission, in doing our archaeological survey of the town a good 10, 12 years ago, cemeteries were one element which was left off, and this commission did, in fact, about 5 years ago, hire an archaeologist to do the cemeteries and to do an archaeological research, which you're aware. I know we gave you a copy. And so we do appreciate this work. I have one question, a caveat. People's Cemetery is not the oldest cemetery in town. It's quite modern considering the other cemeteries. And you're working on People's, and I applaud that, but from my point of view, it's quite modern. Is there any thought to getting to the more, quotes, historic cemeteries, like the north and south, those, because those need a lot of work.
In Chatham Port.
Well, okay, so what we're trying to do first is restore the active cemeteries.
Okay.
And I don't want to argue with you, but the section that we're asking for to do is the oldest section in People's, and also, I believe, maybe it's tied for the oldest in some of the other parts of town, but it's all, they started late 1700s, and I don't know.
Yeah, but there are other cemeteries that go back even further.
North and south,
Good
you're
old Colonel
correct.
Godfrey, and anyway, but I'm not argumentative, but I just would hope that when you continue this, because I know when we did our archaeological survey, those other cemeteries, they were in bad shape. Stones falling over and buried, stones missing, et cetera, et cetera. And anyway, just a thought. I support this application fully, but just was a comment. Yes, Nancy?
Well, I just do, I think you're right. I mean, we've got to, don't want to see those old, very old other places that aren't actively used. They're important memorial and monuments in town. But I do want to reiterate what Dave is saying, which is they have chosen the oldest section of people.
Right.
They're not doing the whole modern cemetery.
right.
clean.
Understand.
They have been, and I actually would say that one thing that I really appreciate about the application was the detail with which they identified the stones by name, by need. So it's very, very, very well thought out and very, very clear that they are focused on their efforts.
Yes, I agree.
And so I just wanted to make that public.
Yes, go ahead, Steph.
I just want to say, if you repair them like you did last year to the ones, they were wonderful.
I don't know if you've had the opportunity to go through Union down the main
Yes.
way, but John Fougere has been the successful bidder on those two, and he's done a wonderful job. And as I told the CPC yesterday, we also now have a full complement of park and grounds people that are dedicated to the cemetery. So a lot of work is getting done on the sides and overgrowth and things like that. And Frank, we're working our way toward north and south. We've begun with the active cemeteries, the 4 active cemeteries. There isn't a lot to do in South Chatham, which would be the one maybe we'd come back for next year. And then I think we do want to look toward north and south, the two you're talking.
I have an alternative motive for asking that, because I recently bought a plot in the South Chatham Cemetery, because I wanted to be in the old section, and it could do some work before I get there.
You have the plot? Have you purchased the plot already?
Say again?
South Chatham? Have you purchased a plot?
Yeah.
In South Chatham.
Okay, great.
Not too many left. I wanted to be between Eldridge's and the Nickerson.
Oh, you're going to the old section. That's hopefully.
All right.
can I ask one more question?
Yes, ma'am.
If there is a funding scenario in which you don't get the full request, will you still start and apply an amount, or are you waiting for the full amount, or how does that work?
Well, I think, I would not say that if you don't fund the full amount, we wouldn't do anything. I think we'd, depending on, there's a dividing line at $50,000 where it's a different type of application that the town has to do. So that kicks it into prevailing wage and makes it a little more expensive. But I guess to answer your question, anything that the CPC will give us, we're just looking for your support. Today, I think Frank was saying earlier that,
Yes, I realize that.
but yeah,
A
we'll,
bit ahead of myself.
we want to move ahead as much as we can each year. We've been coming to do that, so.
All right. We're going to move forward, guys, all right? Unless there's some other comments. Bob?
Okay, I'll try. I move the Chatham Historical Commission finds that the monuments located in People's Cemetery are historically significant because they're, ones selected are 75 years old or more, and obviously there's associated with historical persons in the cultural and social history of the town. And some of them may actually also include architectural significance of their style and period, and therefore recommend that the application be forwarded to the CPC for its consideration.
Second.
Thank you very much. No comments? Bob?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Steph?
Yes.
Robert Stevens?
Yes.
Janet Tennyson?
Yes.
Robert Wilson?
Yes.
Jefferson? David, thank you very much. I'm sorry it
Thank you
dragged on
very
so
much.
long.
Yep, thank you. Have a good day.
You've been here, you know how it is. All right, guys, we have just two things I want to do quickly on the old business, and we'll just leave everything else for the next meeting of December 16th. We have we have ratification and approvals of two administrative approvals, 655 Old Harbor and 552 Shore Road. 655 Old Harbor, did you do that one, Bob?
I did, and it was hard to see what was going on, but they're doing some work in the back of the house, which is not visible from the street, and I don't think it detracts from anything, and therefore it should be approved through administrative approval, or ratified as an administrative approval.
Any comments? Okay, on a motion?
I move that the Chatham Historical Commission ratify the finding that 552 Shore Road changes be approved as not being historically significant.
I'll second that.
Okay, no other comment?
That was 655 Harbor Road we're inviting, are we voting on
655
Harbor?
Old Harbor.
Okay.
Is that what you said?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he said Shore Road. Okay.
Maybe I did because it got Shore written right under it.
Do we have dates on those things?
On the application?
Yeah.
I visited it on
We're gonna
November
fill the date in.
20th, 655. When did you see it, Bob?
A couple of weeks ago.
Yep, so the application was submitted November 17th.
November 7th?
17th.
17.
Okay.
Sorry, are we saying that the house is historically significant, but the work is?
I wouldn't say, I can't say one way or the other it's historical.
So we don't have a
but
form on it?
It's not impacting whatever it is.
And as of right now, through the administrative review process, we cannot make that determination.
Okay. Bob?
Yes.
Nancy? Steph?
Yes.
Robert Stevens?
Yes.
Janet Tennyson?
So we're voting on 655?
Robert Wilson?
Old-
We voted on 655 Old Harbor. I'm sorry.
Yes, it's okay.
I'm sorry, Janet, I thought you said yes.
Okay. Okay.
All right, now Shore Road, 552 Shore Road. You want to show that? No, we don't need that. This is 552 Shore Road, Palimas and Savory, major restoration work. We were all there. And during the process, they uncovered a significant amount of rot and oh, there it is, good, at the floor of some of the areas where they're restoring. And they came to us from, before they did anything, which would be unwise, you know, they want to take out those bottom boards and replace, put a new sill in. Effectively, as big as the building was, in some ways was sitting on the ground. And we had given them that we thought, yeah, that was consistent and not affecting its historical significance. The other element related to the chimney. Oh, no, the chimney was going to stay intact. They have to raise the building to get underneath it, but everything was going to stay intact.
And the other, I think, most significant factor is that the whole building had basically been rotted at the bottom because the dirt had moved up or the building sunk or whatever, and they tried to protect it by putting, I think, copper flashing for about 9 inches at the bottom, all the way around the building. And all of that, the water got under that, and in order to fix it, they're going to have to lift the building, and when they put it back down, it's going to be 9 inches higher because they've got to put a new row down at the bottom. So they're doing that rot repair work, if you will, is one type thing, but there is that larger thing that is going to have some difference in the height of the building, so.
Yeah, the building is going to change its height about 6 to 9 inches, and we didn't feel that was that significant to force them to come back here. It's one of those things, you know, until you open it up, you don't know what's there, and we're kind of lucky that the owners, God bless them, are willing to significantly reinvest in this particular property, so that was the reason we felt it doesn't affect the historical significance of the application. Okay? We all right? All right, Bob.
So Frank and I, anyway, request that the commission affirm or ratify the finding that the project can be done through administrative approval and does not require a full application.
Second.
Thank you much. Okay, Bob?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Steph?
Yes.
Robert Stevens?
Yes.
Janet Tedison?
Yes.
Robert Wilson?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. You know, guys, this whole administrative approval process, which started about less than 5 years ago, it's a little onerous, but, you know, if you think about the millions of dollars these people are spending, and if we were to have them come back for a new hearing, you know, you're talking months to begin the process. And I think that what we do, it's usually independent in the sense that I ask one or two, myself or Bob or Janet, you know, to look at it independently and make an assertion, you know. And we've turned them down, trust me. There've been requests for administrative approval. We said, no, you got to come back to the commission, or, quite honestly, they rethink what they're asking. But as long as there, especially issues like that, where there's some rot where they didn't see, and it's not changing the overall envelope of the building, and there's not, God bless my friend Don Aikman, when I was not here, if there were not significant loss of historic materials, they're only taking away those historical materials which have been truly compromised, and it has to be replaced, because we would like these buildings to last another 100 years. So anyway, all right, that's enough for my
And
speech.
can I, sorry to be a
Yes.
pain, but just related to the historical significance issue, which I know you're trying to solve, administrative approval, and it keeps occurring to me, couldn't it be where two members go out, look at it, and make a recommendation to the commission that we have
Yes.
reviewed this, and then we all vote on historical significance based on that recommendation? So therefore, you've done an administrative approval initially with a full commission hearing the recommendation.
Yes.
Could that not take place?
That's kind of where we were going. And in discussions we've had with the attorney, it was, you don't really have to change the bylaw. If you change your rules and regulations and be very definitive of the process you're going to use, you can do that. And what you hit the nail on the head, that's what we would do. We would, a couple of people independently determine it's historically significant or not historically significant. For instance, Indian Hill Road is a good example. Rather than all of us trudging to Indian Hill Road, okay, just Bob Wilson would go, and he'd be in charge of Indian Hill Road, and find it. And I'm only kidding, Bob. In other words,
You give us the form or not the form, you give us the
Exactly.
one-page information about it, and say, I saw it, and this is my recommend, yeah.
all right, so look, guys, I really would like to end the meeting, so to speak, and we have it for us, December 16th meeting. We have no
Unknown
applications?
participant is now exiting.
Continue, it was the computer again.
No applications, December 16th?
No application.
So we have some time on December 16th, and we'll discuss this, and we'll be ready to have something we can vote on, all right? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
What did you want to say, Bob?
I make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
Second?
Second.
Janet, did you have to say something?
No, but Bob did.
No, it's all right. It doesn't have to be on the record.
It's okay? All right, okay.
Okay,
All
right,
Are we
sorry.
voting?
Yes, we're going to vote.
I'm sorry?
I'm voting yes.
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 Okay. Nancy?
Yes.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Robert Stevens?
Yes.
Janet Tennyson?
Yes.
Robert Wilson?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Thank you.